In a Bloomberg Business Week exclusive, we bring you the country's top undergraduate business schools. Coming in at number 10 is Texas University's McCombs. It is followed by Boston College, then Ross and Ann Arbor, Michigan. And continuing along that list is Emory, then UC Berkeley and Cornell. As for the top four, that includes Wharton Business School in Philadelphia, MIT Sloan in Cambridge, and then at number 2 is McIntyre in Virginia. And coming in at number 1 is Notre Dame.
And for more on this list, we are joined by Jim Ellis, Assistant Managing Editor at Bloomberg Business Week. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. It's interesting to see this list, and you got to sort of emphasize that these are undergraduate business schools, because people see it and go, "Hey, wait a second, what happened to
Harvard?"
Exactly. But it's interesting to see Notre Dame at the top. How do you rank these? How do you go about ranking these schools and picking them out?
We take a look at a lot of metrics. We'll look at the academic metrics, things like class size and student ratios and SAT scores. But we also look at the things that really matter a lot, which is, what do you make when you get out of school? What sort of placement rates do the schools have, and also what percentage of students go on to top MBA programs. So there are actually 9 metrics, and so we do a nice look at both the academic and the real world things that should matter to somebody who's going to business school.
Well, jobs certainly matter to everybody right now. I mean, what is the job market looking like for these students?
The job market is pretty bad. That's the #1 concern for most of the students that we talk to. We surveyed a little over 27,000 students, a very large survey, and we found that this year only 38% of the kids who were seniors this year actually have jobs at this time. Compare that to last year, we had about 46% who had jobs, and then the previous year in 2008, which is a much stronger economy, we had 56% of the students having jobs. So a lot of people worried about that, and also what we've really seen go up is the percentage of kids who are now saying, well, maybe I'm not going to get a job and I'm going to have to look for something else. In fact, about 36% are saying that they're going to have to look at something like Teach for America, the Peace Corps, something that isn't a traditional job, simply because there's not a job for them out there.
What is it that helps students at these schools get jobs more easily than other schools? I mean, Wharton and Sloan obviously have huge cachet in their names. I know a lot of guys that went to McIntyre that hire other guys that went to McIntyre, and I got to assume Notre Dame's kind of the same thing there.
Well, Notre Dame is one of those things that it has a great alumni network. I mean, it is one of those things that if you've gone there, you'll meet other people who've gone there, and they want to bring you in. So that has been really good for them. McIntyre at UVA has been unusual in the team teaching approach is really, really popular with students. I mean, it gets really high rankings in that. What they do is they take interdisciplinary teams of professors and they work through the core curriculum together. Students love it, and it's been a really great thing for them. MIT, which is, I mean, it's a big name, but it also is the school that has probably the best internship programs around. More than 90% of students there get internships, and also it has the highest first-year starting salary, $62,000 for an undergrad getting out. People love that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let me ask you.
Or they can play blackjack to get out of there.
They could do
Go to Vegas.
Yeah.
There is that. Let me ask you, though, Jim, those schools that kind of kicked up their career services programs, did they end up kind of faring better in the survey?
Well, yeah. I mean, they fare better in the survey, but a lot of them are having trouble with that. Not as much trouble as the MBA programs. MBA programs have often not done a very good job at career services. They've done a great job at teaching, but not at putting people in work. Now, the B schools at the undergrad level have always pushed that, but now they're actually using new things, especially technology. What we're seeing is a lot of schools are looking at ways to use Twitter, to use Facebook to actually go out and market students. That's something that 10 years ago you wouldn't have done. Nowadays, you'll tweet your best candidates out to people, and you're able to use Facebook to actually look at people who are in a particularly difficult industry to place people in. Maybe you've got somebody who only wants to do business within the petroleum industry. You'll find that person, throw them out there as an alum.
Are these schools sending more kids straight to MBAs now because they can't get a job anyway?
A lot of schools are. The problem with that, though, is that so many people feel like, I can't get a job, I'm going to go to an MBA program, that it's actually tougher this year and last year to get into a top MBA program than it would have been 4 or 5 years ago. The job market was so strong for undergrads that they went straight to work. Nowadays, they're saying, oh my God, I'm going to have to go someplace, and I don't want to go to the Peace Corps, so maybe I'll go to B School.
All right, Jim, thanks so much for joining us. Jim Ellis here with Bloomberg Business Week.